Hello, my friends, and welcome to tonight's episode of the League of Amazing Adventurers. Sorry about that long wait to get started today. I just forgot to push a button. But I hope everyone is having a fantastic evening tonight. We are down a Lynx as Cooper is currently with Leo, celebrating Leo's birthday. Happy birthday, Leo. I asked Cooper to make sure you heard this, but I will also send you a Facebook message just in case Cooper forgot to tell you, whilst being too entranced by your presence. But before we get started, a few announcements. Those announcements being pretty dang important in my opinion. Number one, we have our other shows here on the channel, like the Calling Chronicle on Friday, Salt and Sorcery on Saturday. Monday nights we have the Strength of Thousands AP, and of course every single Wednesday night we have the League of Amazing Adventurers. This is what you're watching right now, and we're starting a new arc, and they're level 19. Bloody crazy.
This is the highest level I've ever been in a tabletop game.
Oh, well, it's going to get higher after this arc if you survive. Then we have, of course, those are all of our other shows. Salt and Sorcery is going to be very fun this week. Matt and I are doing some bounty hunting and some saving our friends and new family.
Ooh.
And
yes, that's true.
Yes, it should be a good time. And we have access to more magic now, so it'll be even cooler. There's more. Matt and I will be providing the salt.
You have more access to magic.
Yes, but
I can now leap into the air and hit people with things.
Yes. Oh, that's a very cool skill animation. Anyway, so those are all of that. This Tuesday, in lieu of that, we beat Stray this Tuesday. So if you want to go see the ending of that game and cry with me on stream, you can. It hurt. It really hurt, y'all. But this Tuesday, well, the Dark Archive book was out, and I have already made several... Oh god, now I have anxiety saying the class online. I have already made several thaumaturges. Fuck me. I've already made several of them. I've already made several thaumaturges, and they all play very differently, and I'm very excited to share those with you, as well as my thoughts on the book, and maybe even some other people's thoughts if people are free and will want to spend some time with me on Tuesday nights. But we'll find that out later. I'm going to be showing Rose the class this Friday after our D&D game, because I think Rose would love it. Then, of course, we have... that's our Tuesday night this week. And then, yeah, that's all of our regular streams. Upcoming streams include the Genshin Impact one-shot once the 5e campaign is done. Some Pathfinder 2e. I have some in-world one-shots for this one. And then I might try to convince, I don't know, McKenna or Abby to run a one-shot too for us, which could be fun. I said try. I wouldn't say I'm not... No pressure. I'm just putting it out into the universe.
Doesn't have to be successful.
Yeah.
I feel like saying that on stream in front of an audience involves a little bit of pressure, but that's just me personally.
Fair enough. But yeah, and then, you know what? We might also do, like, some other systems in between. Like, maybe some Thirsty Sword lesbians. Some glitter hearts. Could be fun. We'll find out.
If I could get my act together, maybe some Avatar.
Yeah, we could do the Avatar.
Ooh.
We do have all the
Oh,
Azula
God.
content to get through now.
I don't know when that's dropping, but...
Yeah, that's probably not a while.
But yeah, so those are all of our announcements. Am I forgetting anything? Cast introductions. We have our people who normally play with us tonight, just like we do every week. We have Abby of Abby's Worlds of Stage fame, now several rocks richer.
Yes, I brought a lot of rocks back with me from Pennsylvania. I just got in 45 minutes ago.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Is that what you do when you go to Pennsylvania? I don't know.
What else do you do in Pennsylvania?
Take rocks from
I could not-
unalived people? Absolutely.
Is
I
that
couldn't
where-
point it out to you on a map, so
is
I
that-
don't know.
Is that where the last vice president was born? Anyway.
I have
You
no
give a shit
idea.
about Mike Pence? Mike
Well,
Pence
because
came
it's-
from the depths of hell. You think he came from
Pence-
Pennsylvania?
It's Pennsylvania. Anyway.
Hi.
It was a bad pun.
McKenna, whap this man.
Ugh,
Whap this
yes,
man.
agreed.
Sad.
I worry about one day you'll break your webcam.
I'm hitting
It's built
I'm hitting
into
the
the laptop, so...
I'm hitting the wall above the camera, not the camera itself. But when I
Wait, have you been
It
on a
looks like
laptop
it.
all this time?
Yes.
I did not know that.
what can I say? we're a babe on a budget. That's just
Speaking-
how it is sometimes.
No shade. I didn't know that.
Speaking of laptops, they're very portable and very fun to use. And speaking of things that are very portable and fun to be around, we have Matthew, who enjoys walks.
What?
I tried to make a segue from it, it didn't
Wait.
work.
I don't
Measure
actually,
ice after stretching and reaching like that.
considering how far between my walks are, I wouldn't actually say I enjoy them that much, but I like doing them as a special treat, maybe.
Oh, fair enough.
Like,
Just a little walkie.
Yes.
As a treat.
unless of course there's a tasty bagel at one end.
Matt and I had a very good time at the anime convention this weekend. We saw many Genshin cosplay.
Yeah. And we didn't get COVID.
Yes, I mean,
Hey.
speaking of Genshin, someone who is the resident Genshin pro now, the person who probably has the most
Rose
Genshin
isn't here.
knowledge on this
This isn't
chat.
here.
Oh, I know Rose isn't here, but McKenna is. I would say at this point, McKenna, your knowledge of Genshin has eclipsed mine.
I
I
definitely
mean-
play Genshin regularly and haven't abandoned it after spending too much money on it.
I mean, who's the only person in this chat here who has essentially soloed bosses with Kokomi?
In fairness, Kokomi's correct. I don't know what to tell you.
Your Kokomi is correct.
You should see how some of them get. Anyway, my name is McKenna Ray Tynan. I am McKenna Ray Art on the socials. Clock me on the Clock app. And
Probably
yeah,
just
good to
posted
be
something.
here, and I did, and it is about enemies to lovers. It's a self call out this time instead of
Oh.
a will call out.
Instead of will call,
So-
that's nice. I've started. I'll tell you this thing. I'll tell you this part on the break. But I'm going to now roll the intro, and then we'll get things started. Oop. Wrong button. Last time on the League of Amazing Adventurers. Our party
Ruh-roh.
finished off their massive party and celebration they had after defeating the prismatic chromatic dragon. And their final dragon that was kind of holding Lutania hostage. Now, after successfully defeating all fronts of the war in Magdia, Kalmia, and Lutania, our party has now pushed their way and begun moving into Treladar, the heart of the Magocracy, and probably the most dangerous place they've ever been yet.
I think this is the first time we've gone to Treladar in the campaign.
Yes, this will be the first time in Treladarian soil. Well, that people
Yeah.
remember, or that people had like control of their character, that weren't backstory related.
Right.
Yeah.
First time for us, not necessarily for, I think, any of our characters, any of us present at least.
I mean, I don't know if I would count Corellia because she spent most of her time in like a Rapunzel tower.
She was still there.
Yeah. And Garl was in like a sort of stasis tube for a while.
But she was still... Anyway.
Anyway,
I'm being pedantic.
Yes.
I won't call you out on it. I'm extremely pedantic.
I am, and when I feel like it, I'm also very pundantic, which is when you mix in puns with being pedantic, and it's very good.
I agree, Abby. the perfect response.
Oh, have no words. Just
Just no words. Just...
All right, adding 30 hit points to the boss.
So what's next?
Well, this is the thing we're at now. Y'all are on a boat, well, a sky boat, an airship, being basically transferred over towards Treladar. I'm going to let you know that Gunther's driving. We left off last time with a sort of a skip over to Nimbus's family. We met Malachor for a little bit. And their hawk...
What a name.
Who we didn't get to say their name last time, but I will say that Malachor does refer to their hawk's name as Constel.
Interesting.
Yes, it's Malachor and Constel. That's spelled Constol.
Interesting.
Yes, and the hawk has now finished eating that owl that it hunted.
Well.
But the ship kind of comes over towards Treladar, and I wanted to give you this image again. There are towers that defy gravity. Like, as you're looking at it, architecture and, like, the laws of physics say these buildings should not stand, but Treladar says, fuck no magic.
Yeah.
And so it is the most architecturally, like, intense and interesting thing. There are buildings that are floating and curving around each other. There are what appear to be, like, towers that move completely sideways and around each other. It looks like there's two specific towers in Divinus that are, like, two rich families that are slowly building their towers up, trying to have one higher than the other, but they're, like, interlocking, so it creates this, like, beautiful, like, sight. And, like, all the streets are lit
Keeping up with the Magic Joneses.
Keeping up with the Saint Altairs.
All of the streets are lit with magical dancing lights, and they're colorful in, like, greens and blues and purples, and it is an absolutely beautiful sight to see. The site that you all are brought, though, to is a mansion. A decently sized mansion, several wings, with, like, a very large garden in the back. The ship puts on its basically invisibility spear, and it lowers down. Gunther, once the ship has landed, says, the staff team should be waiting for you at the back entrance, Nimbus and friends. I will have to depart. I must return to work at this point.
Where's work?
He just looks at you, Nimbus, with a Nim, really.
Well, I don't know. I don't
Nimbus.
know if you're going back to be a double agent super secret spy, or if you're going back to Latania to help out there.
I'm going back to Butler.
So, double agent secret spy.
Yes.
Yes.
Less double agent secret spy, more, if I see your family getting anywhere near you, I will be able to steer them away.
Okay. Be careful. Don't get caught.
I have only been caught once, and it was by you. And
Well,
Hey.
it wasn't me. It was the... Okay, anyway.
Have fun battling.
I shall.
Someone said it. I'm glad.
And you just see Gunther kind of like step into the shadow, and then he does the shadow jaunt ability and disappears.
Why did he think I was the one who caught him?
It might have been a collective you.
It still doesn't make any sense. He was caught in the Opal Empire. It was Drevrin who caught him, but... Anyway.
Garl has been looking at the interesting architecture we passed, and she pulls out her little crudely made book and starts writing in it very slowly. I would love to hit someone with a tower.
You totally could. Like, some of these towers are just straight up levitating, so with, like, enough force, Garl,
Exactly.
you could swing a tower.
The magic's doing the heavy lifting.
You'd have to be, like, a legendary in athletics to attempt something like that, but...
Damn it. Oddly enough, barbarians don't get that, I don't think.
Well, I mean, you can.
You can.
No, I'm legendary intimidation. I'll glare at the towers.
Well, you'll get legendary You'll get another legendary at level 20.
Do you?
I think you get it at this level.
Oh, you got it at 19. You should have multiple
skill
spells. You
increase.
should have one. You should have 2 skills that you're legendary.
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah. Make sure you have gotten all your skills right, because you should have 2 skills at this point that you're
Yeah.
legendary in.
Might be 3.
Maybe 3. 4 if you're a rogue. But
Mm.
as you exit the airship kind of and then disappears. It is plane shifted.
All right. We are deep within enemy territory. My parents could find me at any moment, and we need to find Alwyn Maverickson, whose visage I do not know, whose location I do not know.
Well, you would
Is anyone else feeling like this?
You were told you were dropped off in their backyard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I still don't know what he looks like, which is a little bit unnerving, because that means anyone could have come here and impersonated him. But I guess we'll figure that out as we go.
For the record. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go for it.
I was just saying, for the record, barbarians have a 1 chance to level something to legendary at 15, and that's it.
What?
Under skill increases, it says at 15th level you can use them to increase your proficiency rank to legendary in a
Matthew.
skill which you've already mastered.
Matthew,
Yes?
at 15th level, you unlock the ability on your skill increases to do any skills that you have mastered to legendary.
So go to the table where it tells you what you get per level, not where it gives you like the breakdowns of what that all means. It should say when you get a skill increase, the same way it'll tell you that you get like a general feat or...
Alright, you guys continue. I'm just going to keep reading the wording of this.
If you look at the barbarian table, Matt, because that'll tell you every skill increase you get.
Well, no, I see the skill increases, but...
Yes. Anyway.
So we're in his backyard. Is it like large topiaries? Do we see where the house is?
Oh, it's a
What's
very fine backyard. There's like a nice little patio area that has a number of like Tangled-esque dancing light lanterns around it, so it's pretty well lit. Where just out where you are right now, you're just on the kind of the lawn. And if people want to make perceptions, you can.
Yes. He will do 1 for me and 1 for Moyle.
Oh, wow. Huh.
46 for Merle, 37 for me.
You can see some of the topiaries, like towards the edge of the garden, are animal shaped and moving. There's like living topiaries on like the edge of the garden behind you.
With a 46, do they look aggressive?
No, they look like they won't F with you unless you go towards them.
Skirt the topiaries, and let's see if we can find anyone on the patio.
Yeah. As you approach the patio, the back doors to the mansion open up, and standing before you is a team of butlers and maids.
Goodness gracious, sorry to come in the back door. Incredibly, impolite of us, I know. We're looking for Alwyn Maverickson.
Yes, Lady Nimbus. We will take you to their office immediately. The butler just kind of nods their head. If you and your party would follow myself, it would be best to get you inside. The curfew will be starting soon.
I understand that. There was a similar curfew in Megdia, if I remember correctly. Is it anything like that?
This is a studying curfew. This is a highly sought-after magical area. And a number of the youth, people below a certain age, are sequestered in the evenings to study magic. Unless there are special
Sounds
events.
about right.
And yeah, they welcome you into the manor. It is beautiful, like marble floors. There's like busts of just like people, historical figures. You figure all about the place. There's like a bust of, in like one of the corners, there's like a bust of what appears to be a younger Cassandra.
Cassandra takes the nearest like tapestry or towel or carpet and covers it up. She's like, nope, not today.
It's like the butler removes it, replaces.
Cassandra puts it back.
Cassandra, don't fight with us. Cassandra,
The butler
we are
removes it,
guests.
puts it back.
We are guests.
I do
I
apologize,
don't like it.
Lady Corellia, but you are a very important figure to the history of this nation. You are effectively
I
the
wish I
first.
wasn't.
You are effectively its founder, and thusly a certain amount of honorific is held. Granted, regular people who are not as well informed as us will not be able to make that connection. However, the bust will be removed if we have for the social gathering tomorrow evening, and the butler just kind of continues leading you up this like grand double stairway with like this beautiful red carpet, and then up into another grand double stairway that leads you up to like a third floor. And then from there, the butler says, it'll be just a moment. And then the stairway from the bottom floor moves upward and floats upward to create a stairway to the fourth floor, where you are brought into a large office. And basically sitting behind the table with like a thing of coffee and a coffee press beside him is a human man. Very much like, very noble looking, but also he looks like a noble who hasn't slept in 3 weeks.
Fine.
So like he is like, his beard's slightly overgrown, his hair is like disheveled, and he's just been like madly writing. He's like, "Oh, you're here, all right. I thought, God
I apologize for the intrusion.
I apologize. It's been some time since I've had to enter. Please come in. Everyone, give them chairs, please." And the butlers and maids give you each chairs, and they sit you down. It's like,
Question:
yes,
are these like fancy, like antique-looking chairs?
very fancy chairs. They give Garl something different though.
Okay, because I was like, Garl would, if Garl looks like she might break one of these chairs, she'd be happy to just stand behind
They-
Cassandra and look
they-
intimidating.
They give Garl what appears to be like a magical chair, like a magical plastic chair.
Like a deck chair?
Yeah, like a deck chair, but it floats.
I mean, okay.
Oh my god.
Oh, it floats.
Yes, as he's like radly writing, he just looks up. "I apologize. I've been putting things together for your arrival, and it's been quite stressful. Oh, dear goodness gracious. Stopping what could be a nation taking over the world is very hard work. I don't know how you all do it."
We hit
Appreciate
things a lot.
Your work from inside the house, essentially. You've been playing on hard mode.
Yes, I've been having a difficult time. But do not worry. I have papers for you all, and he hands you all papers. They are essentially saying that you are recent, not immigrants, but returners from my family's bloodline. Nimbus, I should warn you, you do not exist in Treladar. As far as the nation is concerned, your parents only ever had Malachor.
Harsh.
Interesting.
Garl is mildly confused by this and pokes Nim very carefully.
Is this a mass modified memory situation, or is it
Now, to be quite frankly honest with you, a much noble society in Treladar is sort of just listening to the people in power. When the people in power say something, you listen to them. So when your family
I
returns...
mean, I suppose, but they televised our supposed deaths. I mean, that
I forgot about
I'm
that.
sure there's a difference between not questioning things and believing them as truth.
Yes, those televisions were slightly altered here in Treladar. Your name was changed to a more generic one.
What was it, if you don't mind my asking?
It was still Nimbus, but they cut out your last name. I believe they went with Boggleheart.
Boggleheart.
Boggleheart. It was meant to sound sort of
Perhaps I'll keep
distasteful.
it. Well. So, who am I Now, if I am your relative, certainly I can't go by Nimbus Bogglehard,
Well, you
and
can
definitely not Nimbus Evangeline Amalthea Saint Altair.
Well, as I said, you are relatives, but it's a distant relative sort of situation. A cousin of a cousin of a cousin. If like, you could really adopt any last name here you would want. I'd recommend keeping Nimbus just for ease for within your party. That name shouldn't set off any red flags. It's common enough. You know, every third or fourth daughter is named Nimbus in Treladar these days.
Out of character, is that true?
It is actually pretty true. Nimbus is the Lee. Nimbus is the Lee of the Fire Nation for Treladar.
I don't know how I feel about that. I had a very specific Desden connotation for that name choice.
It's usually some form of it, so it's
Interesting.
like, yeah. Anyway, it's become very common in the last few years.
Interesting. Well, I suppose I am glad for the stealth that provides. Your staff mentioned a social event?
Yes, tomorrow we are holding a very large party at this manor. Thankfully, I'm a low enough ranked noble that your family should not see need to come, Nimbus.
May I ask why we are holding a major social event?
Well,
in
the thing
the
is,
middle of wartime?
I can give you these cards that will provide you an identity. However, the connections that you can make at this social event could allow you to more easily move throughout the city. It is more of I am setting this up so that you may all mingle and make a good impression and have a stronger alibi and stronger connection should people ask questions. People are less likely to ask questions if you're popular.
Yes. That I agree with. Do you know if there's going to be any sympathizers at the party?
That is a vibe that you will need to check on your own. I myself am one, and I have a number of people. However, most of the sympathizers against Treladar are more common folk. The nobles, unfortunately, have had years of propaganda and years of societal conditioning that kind of has created a essentially manifest destiny sort of feeling about themselves, that Treladar shall take the world and it shall be a good thing. We are a breed above the other places, things like that.
Ow! Oh! You mentioned him. My brother.
Yes, Malachor.
Malachor, is that what they named him?
Yes. Oh, here. I apologize. Give me a moment. And he walks to his butler. If you could go to my daughter's room and fetch one of the magazines. Yes. And the butler leaves.
One of the magazines?
And about 5 minutes later, there's like a Treladarian Vogue magazine brought up that just has this
Oh, God.
very attractive man
Your brother's on the cover of Vogue?
with like they're in like a sort of like full
OMG.
military uniform with like a rapier like bisecting their face. It's a very pretty thing, and like the hawk's like on the shoulder, slightly out of focus. Yes, he's quite the heartthrob, from what I've been told.
He has a familiar too.
Nimbus, your mic's not picking you up.
I said he's barely 3 months old. This is disgusting.
That is not knowledge the population has, unfortunately.
I mean, being able to hold a sword at 3 months is pretty impressive. Usually, you know, and eye-hand coordination is still a problem.
I don't know. Every
How do I
time
know that?
imagine that my parents have some modicum of decency left in them, they go and sink that much lower.
If it makes you feel better, it was not your parents who aged your brother.
Ooh.
What on earth do you mean?
They
It was
allowed
not their choice. They would have rather have raised him, but they were outranked.
Gods.
The current Archmage used his brand of magic to increase your brother's usefulness to him. Effectively speaking, from what I understand, the Archmage has become a master of chronomancy. Your brother did age those 15 years, except they essentially sped up his timeline for a short time. It was quite the painful process, apparently.
No, specifically, was it different than the bioalchemy that was used by the Sildons?
Yes, this was chronomancy.
Oh, jeez. Do you have anything more specific than that?
From what I've gathered from the few interactions I've had with your family, the Archmage moved him forward in his timeline. He retained all the knowledge that he would have gained, all the life experience he would have gained, but they simply sped that up.
And the current Archmage's name is...
Unfortunately, that is information even I do not have. They've been quite secretive with their identity. Names can hold an awful lot of power when magic is involved, I've been told. And he raises his hand. You can see like he has like what appears to be like the Treladarian, like the crest of Nim's family, essentially tattooed onto the back of his hand. I'm unfortunately ungifted. However, my connections as a merchant have afforded me a certain amount of wealth. Once again, your mic's not picking you up, Nimbus.
I hate again, my mic is fine. It's the Zoom up fucking anyway.
The Zoom filter
Nim
is
just
cutting
said,
you out again.
Yeah. Nim just says, that is such a distasteful term, ungifted. As if anyone couldn't apply themselves and learn wizardry, or gain a patron and become a witch. It's not exclusive to those who come from an arcane gifted bloodline. That's...
Or have rocks.
It is,
Or have rocks! Garl has rocks.
It is a social construct that the Archmages are using to devalue the people of that they see as lower class. There are even some people who are arcanely and occultly and bloodline gifted, who, because they are not deemed important, are marked as such.
I've heard of this. It's called a scapegoat.
Yes. Anything goes wrong,
All right.
blame the ungifted. Thankfully, the people who will be attending our party tomorrow night are folks who do not agree with that, at least. As if they did, they would not be attending the party. Allow me to quickly go through the program that we have set up. The entry phase, everyone will be entering into the party. Each noble will be announced. The people who are announced are the ones that I would recommend you take a look over, maybe see if you can try to figure out a way to best speak with them. Then after the entrances are done, a few hours of mingling, about 2 hours of mingling will be had. There'll be appetizers and such, and drinks. I'd recommend you begin mingling and see what connections you can make. Hour 3 is when things become a little bit more complex. Now, I'm throwing this as basically a welcoming party for all of you. There is going to be a ballroom dance, as well as a dance of introduction. Now, each of you will be expected to perform in that introduction.
We have to dance on balls?
I mean, you could. It's sort of you can dance any way you would like. Think of it as your
Can you leave your friends behind?
I would recommend not doing so. Your friends are probably the greatest asset you have here right now.
But if they don't dance, they're no friends of mine.
Thank you, McKenna. I'm
So, yes.
terrible. I apologize.
Well, that was very good. But yes, after such, there of course is a few. There's of course a little bit of a group dance. Then each of you, as well as a number of the nobles, will basically do introduction dances. Then after that, there will be another group set that will finish things off. Then another bit of mingling, and then we have some social duels. Essentially, people. We have a number of magic knight hopefuls that like to, at parties, cross swords with one another. Training blades will be given to each people, but it's a
Mage
simple.
Knights.
Yes, mage knights.
Would Nimbus know automatically what that is?
Yes,
Were those
Nimbus
a thing?
Nimbus
Okay.
would automatically know, and pretty much all of you would
Okay.
know. The
Never
Mage Knights of
mind.
Treladar are basically like the equivalent of like the Navy SEALs.
Mm.
Like they are like a slightly more upper class combat section of Treladar. It's basically one of the divisions of the military.
Gotcha.
There'll be some social duels, and then the night will finish off with a little bit more mingling. Try to make as many connections as you can.
I think I can manage that. Oh, we will need gowns,
Yes, I have.
formal wear.
Yes, my tailors are ready and at your disposal. Thankfully, I am, like I said, a merchant by trade, so we have a variety of gowns and other clothes ready for you all. Formal wear that is, of course, of the latest trends and styles, but if you want to go off-trend, you may do so as well.
Garl is just like looking so confused. She hasn't understood half the words people have been saying, but
He looks at Garl and says,
No.
perhaps something a little bit more military chic for Garl, I would recommend. It seems like it would fit her figure.
will it have pockets? I
Yes.
like pockets.
What is the, I guess, most common garb for bodyguards to wear at these sorts of events in Treladar? That might be the easiest way to pass off Garl.
Usually light armor is acceptable or no armor. However, most bodyguards are military attached, so they usually wear some form of their military uniform from their service. It wouldn't be too hard to get a initiate rank sort of set up for Garl. We could do that pretty easily. If I did that, however, some of the magic knights may want to pick a fight during the social duels, just as a thinking that they could show off against her.
That might actually work to Garl's advantage. If she wants to win over the socialites, that is one of her best skills.
I am good at social.
Yes,
She's very good at fighting.
Garl, they look at your sword. Alright, I could probably get a training blade for that setup. I will deal. Garl, we'll get you a uniform then.
Neat.
But otherwise, I have rooms for you set up here in the manor. You have a wing of the building to yourselves. None of my servants, except for, and they point to the team behind you, your team of servants have been instructed to enter that area, so it will be yours and it is a safe place. I have warded it against divination as well as conjuration. With
Excellent.
that said, he hands you each a basically like a small amulet. This is the essentially key to the conjuration wards. If you are attempting to get in there through conjuration means, this will allow you to do so.
It's nice.
Interesting. Alright. Okay. Well, we have an event to prepare for, so I suppose we ought to go see the tailors first.
Yes, I have them awaiting you in your wing. Garl, I will get working onto that military uniform for you. If I may ask, do you have a particular weapon type that you would prefer a training weapon of? For the duels, training weapons are used. They essentially take the bite off of a weapon. They attune to a weapon that you have in your possession, and they become essentially a non-lethal copy of it.
I have a sword that works as both one-handed and two-handed that I'm quite fond of.
If I could see it.
Garl takes out the force katana and bzzz.
Okay. Yes, I believe I can get something like that whipped out for you very quickly. Thank you. Then I will get on that. I will leave you to prepare. The tailors are available for you now, but if you'd like to rest for the night, you can. The event's not going to be until tomorrow evening, so I leave it to your discretion.
Oh, it's no trouble. It's no trouble at all. If anything, it will give them more time to work. I don't want them to be up against the clock.
All right, fair enough then. I shall then leave you to that. I will be around if you need me, but like I said, I'm putting a few finishing touches on a few other things in the city right now for you. The rumor is that your family is going to be doing something big for the war effort soon, so I'm trying to get my ear on the ground for that.
Have you heard anything specific from my mother? I know sometimes she is
When your mother has
sympathetic,
when your
and
mother
sometimes
has
she is not.
when your mother has been of her own mind, she is the one who told me about the move. She hasn't told me what it is. I need to discover that on my own.
Sounds like her. Esoteric as always.
Yes. Thing about diviners, never would tell you a straight answer. And he heads out.
All right. To the tailors. Let's go.
Yeah. So you're all provided with formal wear. Garl, you are given a military initiate uniform. It's a mage.
I can already tell it's too tight around the chest.
Oh yeah, it's a mage knight's uniform.
I pull out Hecate and ask if like a matching collar can be made for her.
Yes, of course. We can. Perhaps something that plays off of the fur. Oh yes, and perhaps something with like another couple sets. Maybe something that can mirror the eyes. Yes, I like that. And the tailors begin working. So, do any of you have any specifics? Otherwise, we will tailor something to your liking, or we can tailor something very trendy, whatever you prefer.
Do you have something that might be able to temporarily dye feathers?
For a familiar?
Merle pops out of Nim's hair.
Yes. Oh, excellent. If it's a familiar, that can easily be done.
Oh, he
All
probably
right,
spends a lot
well-
of time in there, doesn't he?
I'm thinking maybe a chic charcoal black, maybe? Might look nice. And Merle says, Merle would love a new color. I think that'd be fun.
Alright, you said charcoal black?
Yes, I think that would be innocuous. I just don't want him to be recognizable. I feel like the spectacled owl, that's a very...
Specific.
If word gets around. Yeah.
The tailor kind of like walks over and they begin crushing a pigment, and they basically will show you a charcoal gray. Is this the color you were looking for?
Merle? And Merle goes,
Excellent. They put that down to a table. They begin mixing some alchemical stuff together, and it turns into a pellet. They bring it to Merle. Merle, if you would be so kind as to simply swallow this, it shall change your color. Merle swallows it, and Merle's
yeah.
color instantly changes.
How long can we expect for this to last?
It will last until you dismiss it.
Excellent, thank you.
Do you have some spare blue pigment?
Yes. What would you like done with it? Unfortunately, there's not much we can do.
Could I have a... No, could I have just a small bowl of it?
They just look towards you, Nimbus.
And Nimbus just go.
Okay, Garl, and they will make a small bowl of blue pigment for you.
Thank you. You said we have some quarters?
Yes.
Is there a mirror?
Yes.
Okay. If I could be directed to the quarters, that would be nice.
Of course, and one of the tailors will show you to your room, Garl. It's a very nice room. There's a 4-post bed. There's some pillows. There's like a drapery on it.
Though the party's tomorrow night, right?
Yes,
Or
the party's
tonight?
tomorrow night. Tomorrow.
Okay, so Garl will just put the little bowl of pigment She'll cover it with something to try and keep it a little fresh and not so it doesn't dry out. Puts it by the mirror.
All right.
And now she is the first one in the chorus, like, "Ooh, I get to claim the bed." Hee hee.
I mean, you each have your own room and bathroom.
Oh, that's fair.
And yeah, those tailors will continue to work with you, Nimbus. Nimbus, Cassandra, do either of you have anything in particular? Lynx, if you could just write down your order here. Yes, of course, I will write down my order. I am Lynx.
Cassandra will either ask to have like, what was the color of like the most prestigious robes in Treladar?
They were, the old version of them were multicolored, like a rainbow robe.
She wants like iridescent like hemming and detailing, I think, on her outfit, just to like command a little respect from the people who come. And then if she had a like signature color in her first life, she wants to like flip to the exact opposite of that on the color wheel.
We shall give you a burgundy then.
Nice.
Yes, that dress can be made for you. Nimbus?
I'm thinking something earth-toned, maybe like a metallic bronze. I didn't often wear metallics because they stood out too much, too flashy, and I didn't often wear earth tones. I typically prefer more muted blues and purples, but I don't want to look like Nimbus Evangelina Malthea St. Altair tomorrow night. I want to look like Nimbus Stonewell. That's fine, right?
Yes, we can do that.
So maybe something like a metallic bronze I think will do nicely. Maybe some strappy heels.
Yes.
Nothing too cloistered. You can tell, like, you can see Nimbus trying to... What would Alessandra choose to wear? What would Gwen pick out? Like, what is the opposite of what I would normally pick out myself? Something that is, like, high-necked and long-sleeved.
They bring you, like, a very, like, high-fashion earth tone brown dress. It's a half-cut dress, so there's, like, a sharp cut here.
Mm-hmm.
With, like, a high-waisted, like, a high collar on one end. And then, like, there's, like, a little headpiece that goes with it. And it's, like, a very sleek, very Alessandra, very Gwendolyn dress.
Mm-mm.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think this is perhaps a little bit too flashy, Cassandra? I don't want to stand myself, but I also don't want to stand out. That is also, well...
Well, the party is for us. We're going to be standing out either way.
I suppose you'd better make it metallic then. If we're going to stand out, I am going to sparkle.
They do so. It's a very, very beautiful dress.
Woof.
And makes Nim... It's an intimidating garment for sure.
Yes. Alessandra and Gwen would be proud.
Snaps. Bold choices. We love it.
Right. So, otherwise, do you have any other preparations you would like to make for this party? You'll get a full night's rest, and then, like, the next day will come about.
At some point later in the evening when there aren't so many people, like, moving about and the like, Garl would ask probably one of the staff or the servants, whoever, to just give them a general tour of the grounds and stuff. Garl is just kind of looking around at things for sort of a defensive kind of perspective, to like know where all the exits and entrances are, know where kind of corners where it would be easy to hide are.
As Garl opens, like, the door to their room to, like, go find someone, just standing outside of your door is a maid. She has, like, this, like, sort of, like, long, curled pink hair that has, like, these two, like, large curls hanging over her shoulder. Standard maid outfits, like, Lady Garl, how may I help you? Do you need anything? Perhaps a snack? An evening water?
I mean, originally I wasn't looking for either of those, and both of those sound good. But later,
All
and
right.
I explained that I just want to get familiar with the grounds. experience has taught Garl to always be aware of, the layout of a building you're staying in case things go horribly wrong. You don't want to be running around getting lost in a house while you're trying to pursue someone.
Yes, of course, Garl. Allow me to show you the way. And she just kind of like bows her head and she begins showing you about. Oh, yeah, so this is your wing. This is the guest wing. The main entrance to it is over here. There's also a back entrance to the garden there and an entrance to the main house over there. It is only the single story, however, so do not worry about that. The story above you is servants' quarters. That's where my room is, as well as the rest of the household staff and such. And the tailors, I believe they're probably working right now. But otherwise, the kitchen is this way, and they point you to there. Essentially, anything on this front table here is yours to eat. However, there is staff, and the staff kind of wave, here 24 hours a day if you should ever be peckish.
I should let you know I require a lot of protein to maintain muscle mass.
Yes, of course. We will get that then ordered and set up for you.
Do you have any bean or nut paste? It
No.
goes good on bread.
Beans and toast.
Beans and toast. Also, just ask, just kind of randomly. You mentioned a garden. Are there benches in the garden?
Yes, there are some benches in the garden. There is also a lovely viewing spot. If you're looking for something a little bit more intimate in the garden, there is a lovely viewing spot behind the fountain that is hidden from the rest of the house. It could be a good place to take someone out if you needed to, or to take someone out if you wanted to.
Like, you mean like drown them in the fountain?
Yes. She smiles.
Not sure what to think of this maid, but okay. Garl probably grabs a variety of snacks, though. Oh, she remembers at the last moment. Wait, allergy. No, not the nuts. Yeah.
That's right, the nut allergy.
I was going to let Garl bury themselves with that, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But yes,
Garl like asphyxiates in the hallway. No one sees. She ate like a handful of peanuts.
You are led throughout the rest of the house and are given a full tour. Whilst you are being led, a young girl kind of bumps into you in the hallway. She has similar hair to. They have similar hair to Alwyn's, except she appears to be younger. Like she appears to be like 17 years old. And like as she runs into your hallway, she's just looking at you, just like, "Oh, you are very well built."
Thank you.
No, thank you. I'm enjoying the show.
Not this literal minor.
She just kind of smiles and she heads out.
I don't know how to. I don't know how to respond to that.
You don't.
You don't?
Put that in the vault.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, eventually that's that.
Absolute minimum. I just wanted to know the layout of the house to, if someone, tries breaking in or tries escaping, I know where they're going to go.
Mm-hmm. Nimbus, Cassandra, do either of you have anything you'd like to do that evening or the next day?
I just let Hecate wander, and I'm pretty sure Hecate does find her way into Garl's room.
Yeah.
To nap on Garl's bed. Because Hecate likes Garl.
When you get back, there's just the Hecate napping on your bed.
Well, I guess I'm sleeping on the floor then.
I do want to tour the grounds just to get a lay of the land, see if there are any, like, fun little escape routes, like, have an exit plan, essentially.
Nimbus, as you go to exit your room, awaiting for you is a maid.
Hello, I would like to tour the grounds and plan possible escape routes should things go terribly, terribly wrong tomorrow night. Can't hurt to be too prepared.
Yes, of course, Lady Nimbus. Please allow me to show you the way. This maid has the same hairstyle as the last one, except it's brown curls. And they're wearing slightly higher heels. They kind of just like lead you through the banner. Yes, so here are the escape routes. They go through the same tour they gave Garl. The two of you actually probably like intersect at one point. And the maids just kind of bow to each other and keep walking.
I bow to Garl.
You're given the whole spot. Yes, this fountain's a wonderful place to take someone out or take them out. And of course, if any guests are giving you trouble, if you take them towards the topiary garden and push them in, they will probably not make it out.
Good to know.
Yes,
Good
and
to
the
know.
plants are quite good at making bodies disappear.
Okay.
She smiles.
I don't suppose you would happen to know of a secondary location we could escape to if we had to, if this place was compromised.
If this place was compromised, I'm afraid that there would not be many safe places for you in Trelladar. Perhaps a connection at the party.
Fair enough. I shall have to make connections.
You shall. Cassandra?
I think Cassandra does have like an inkling that Hecate will probably wander into Garl's room. So there is like a little like note rolled up in Hecate's collar that says "Good night, Garl, Cassandra."
Cute.
You have your
That's it.
night. The next day comes, unless you have any preparations during the day, specific preparations during the daytime before the party you want to make. We'll jump to the party.
Yes, actually.
Nimbus.
Magic staff. I would like to cast, with everyone's permission, of course, telepathic bond on the four of us. That way, for the next 8 hours, we will have a source of communication. Specifically, the targets can communicate telepathically with any or all of the targets from any point on the same planet. So as long as none of us gets plane shifted, we have that for 8 hours. So it's myself and up to 4 willing creatures.
The party will be going
So I think
pretty...
that includes...
You will be told the party will be going pretty late into the night. Like, essentially right now, Nimbus, the party plan, at minimum, will take, what? Let me just double check my count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours. It's going to be a very long party.
Well, I will do it as early or as close to the start time as possible, and if we can all find a time to meet up again, I will happily cast it a second time. But that will include, I think, everyone and Merle. So myself, Garl, Cassandra, Lynx, and Merle.
Probably either right before or after the social dues. The social duel is when it would go out. But
Okay.
as you do so, Link says something along the lines of in their head, "Hello? Oh no, everyone can hear my thoughts." And Link's
Only if you want them to, Lynx. You don't need to make an event out of it.
But yada yada yada. But how do I turn it off? Nimbus.
You
Hello?
have to... Lynx, the only way you are able to do this is if you consciously decide to project this thought to all of us.
But how do I
You are
stop?
doing this on purpose.
How do
You
I
are
stop?
playing. You are one of the smartest people I've ever met. You know how this works.
I need to
Lynx.
poop.
Oh, Carl, certain things you do not need to telegraph to all of us. This is for emergency.
I tried not to think it, but then that's the only thing I could think.
You can think it. You just don't need to project it through the telepathic connection.
so-
These are you have to consciously decide to project that thought. You can't accidentally send a thought. That's not how this works.
You're
Link's,
so loud in my head.
I'm
Oh.
speaking out loud.
Look at Nimbus
Oh.
go, everyone. Look at Nimbus go, talking down to us, Garl, eh? And Lynx then just like looks
What?
awkwardly. Oh, I thought I just sent that to Garl.
Yes, you can just send it to one person, Lynx. If you
I
want
thought-
to be mean and rude. That
Sorry.
also means that you sent it to me on purpose and you're still lying.
I only do this out of character. I only
When you-
do this bit because of the way Cooper dealt with Airwalk the first time.
When you can hear someone smiling.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone have a handle on how this spell works so that we are not all alerting one another if we are using the restroom facilities or enjoying a slice of cake. This is for important information.
Garl would know to ask
Agency
that, but is cake a
purposes.
metaphor?
Yeah, Cassandra's blushing when you say it. She's like,
I was speaking about actual party food. But in the event
out
that
of
you are
all of us, the only one
sleeping
here
with my aunt, please don't project that to me. Respectfully.
What? Yeah.
wasn't she your great aunt?
yes.
That just makes it. That's even worse. You have to know that that's worse.
I have to go do a lap in the garden. Goodbye.
Have fun. Sorry to throw you under the bus, Cassandra, but it's true. She needs to know.
It's all right. Your time will come.
Wait, wasn't there Brinks? Wait, wasn't there a point when the two of you were flirting a little bit? Oh, that would have been awkward if that progressed.
God, no. Where did you pick that up?
Like way at the start.
No. I mean,
Can I still hear this, or is this in a conversation? When are we doing mental
I'm
comment?
having a conversation out loud.
Okay.
But
But are you the kind of person who thinks what they're saying while they're saying it?
in this case, no.
Fair enough.
Okay.
But yeah,
Lynx, you're being vile, and frankly, I have more important things to
Vile.
do, and she huffs off.
once again to everyone now but Nim. Oh, no, looks like Elisandra's rubbed off on Nimbus some.
Oh.
As she should.
She should. But yeah, the party time comes to. You cast the spell.
Oh.
Yes, Carl.
Before the party,
Mm-hmm.
and probably after putting on her military uniform, but she like puts a towel around her neck and stuff. Garl uncovers the pigment, the blue pigment she got yesterday, kind of stares at herself in the mirror, and without really understanding how she knows how to do this, she like takes a little bit of pigment on fingers and takes the time to trace some patterns on her face.
It is nighttime.
And she
Okay.
kind of looks at it, and it's like it's familiar, but she has no idea why she thinks it's familiar. But she felt like for a formal gathering, this is something she's supposed to do.
Fair enough.
So Garl in the spiffy military uniform with like barbarian, almost kind of like war paint on her face. In a lovely blue color, though. It really brings out the red of her hair.
Nice. So, unless anyone else has any last-minute party preps to do.
Like tailgating?
Yep, but other than that,
Pre-gaming.
Yeah.
The party begins. There's a full band. The second floor area has been like converted into an orchestra pit. So there's like a full orchestra playing music this evening. The central hall that you're in has been turned into like a large ballroom hall. There's some tables along the sides for standing, and then there's a number of basically servants ready to go. Some non-important people come to the party. You know, people who've just been invited and people who are just coming to the party. And then, after a little while, the first name is announced. One of the servants kind of walks to the door, opens it up. They take their hand like this, and they like put it to their mouth. And they're casting the blowhorn spell, but a controlled version of it. Now announcing Lady Amelia Rosenort. A very
That's a name.
uninterested woman walks in. She is dressed in rich purples and blacks, and like from her name you would like expect something a little bit more preppy. However, her dress and makeup is very like gothic and very witchy. She looks physically annoyed at the fact that she's like here, and she kind of just like walks in and just immediately goes and stands near a wall.
God.
how old is she, roughly?
Your age.
Oh, wow, so she's
Yes.
young.
She's young.
Interesting.
This is a event for like the people of Treladar, so there's going to be a lot of people, young adults here.
What do we know about her from the packet?
Well, if you'd like, as she's entering, people can make me a perception, society, or occultism check.
Oh, interesting.
Cultism.
Society. Success.
Ooh, nat 19.
Success. Excellent. That's 3 successes. I should roll for Lynx, because I balanced this encounter with Lynx in mind for it. So give me but a moment. I am Lynx. I am Lynx. I will roll a natural 1, because I am Lynx. Did not roll natural.
Oh, the 13.
Alright, so with 4 successes, you get 4 little insights into this woman. Number 1, based on her dress and some of the jewelry she has around her neck, you could assume that speaking to her about cult manners would interest her. In addition to that, she has what appears to be a holster on her side, but while most people would have like a wand in there, she appears to have a book, so something like library lore may be of interest to her. She also has a number of crystals and runic like symbols on her jewelry. So nature could be something that you speak to her with. And she has a little bit of a demeanor to her, so maybe a little bit of matching that energy with an intimidation could be helpful to her. You definitely think, though, that the occultism and library lore step area would be the best way to talk to her, though. Next up, announced again, is another person, Zebut Far Wanderer. And as the door opens, flying in is a Nyctera in a suit.
Aww.
If you'd like, you can make perception or society or nature checks.
Is it a male Nycteran? Is it a Batman?
Nat 20.
It is a Batman.
The Batman.
Is interested in crime. Where are the drugs going?
Link's got a 31, which is a failure.
But a nat 20.
You got a nat 20. Cassandra, have you rolled yet?
Yes.
Yeah, I got 42.
On society, that's a success. That's a critical success. Garl?
Or what are we checking? Society or perception?
Perception,
Okay, perception.
society, or nature?
39.
39. Okay, 3 successes. So,
Oh, okay.
yes. And a crit success is one of them, so 4 in total. Judging off of the way they walk in, they appear to be in a little bit more academic dress. They have, so probably speaking to them about nature or arcana could be pretty easy. Like, they would be enjoying that sort of studious manner, maybe nature because they're fae. And then, as far as that, just general good conversation. They immediately come in and start talking to a person at the side. They seem to be very social. So, like, general diplomacy. And as you're, like, watching them a little bit longer, you can notice just the smallest holy symbol of Nocticula on them. So maybe religious speakings could be interesting as well.
Two.
Another few moments pass, and the next person is announced as Lavania Andoran. And coming in is the Treladarian equivalent of Gwen. She is an it girl. Like, she is fashionable and she knows it. If you want,
Can I
you
get
can
that
make
last name again?
Andoran. Andoren. If people would like, you can make me a perception, society, or fashion lore check.
I don't think any of us have fashion lore.
No,
Actually, no.
I attached it to this character because I think it's very fitting for her.
What was the first one?
Perception, society, or fashion lore.
Oh.
Oh, Link's got a natural
Okay.
20.
Yes, Lynx.
Nice. Yeah, so with that, you get, let's see, Nimbus got a 32. That is not a success. Cassandra got a 39. Success. Critical success. Success. So you get 4 interest points. You think the most effective for her would be arcane magic, as she does have like a full arcane suite with her, as well as diplomacy for just general good conversation. Then, of course, slightly less effective, maybe a little bit of intimidation if you want to have that like intimidating confidence. And as she comes in, she immediately flocks towards the Magic Knight, so probably a little bit of athletics may impress her as well.
Nice.
Alright, we've done that. Some more people come in. And then the next and final major guest to get announced is Rosemine Heartsilver.
Oh my.
A very tall woman comes in with basically this like absolutely flowing gown. And like the back of it is just like a peacock trail. Like she is very much the center of attention. And like people just kind of look at her and say, it's her again.
Oh, interesting.
If you want, you can make me perception checks.
Anything else?
Society or Treladar lore.
Treladar lore, you say?
Treladar lore. She's important.
Dang.
I got a nat 5.
Do you want a hero point?
That's pretty appropriate, actually. No, this is not really something Garl should actually know about.
Fair enough. Cassandra with a 33, Nimbus with a 38. Cassandra will fail, Nimbus will succeed.
As long as someone did.
And Lynx will critically succeed. So that would
Yes,
be
Lynx.
You know that this woman is actually a pretty well-known, like Lynx specifically knows that this woman is a very well-known figure in Treladar's sort of underground. She's known to run a number of sort of underground gambling houses. She's quite the prolific gambler. And specifically, she's been known to nudge fate a little bit in favor of people she likes. Because I'm the one rolling for them, Mark. So you think that speaking to her, general, like, knowing how to handle yourself in society, so society would be successful, as well as gambler lore. And then, just general good conversation for diplomacy, but that's all you get on her.
I sort of want to make a character now that's all about gambling lore.
Yeah.
Let's go to Fantasy Vegas.
Yeah. With the introductions done, the party guests all begin to kind of mingle about each other. You will have 2 rounds of influence time, where you each get to go and basically converse with people for an hour as a chance to gain influence with them. So I'm just going to go down my circle here. Nimbus, who would you like to go and converse with for this first hour?
I think I'm gonna go for Zeboot. Zeboot Farwanderer.
Hello there. One of the people, the guests of honor. It's very nice to meet you. I apologize. They didn't tell us your name beforehand, otherwise I would be better educated on the subject.
Oh, Nim Stonewell. Nim with a Y.
Nim with a Y. How very nice. Nice to meet you, Nimbus. My name is Zeboot. It's a pleasure.
Yes. The pleasure's all mine. I've been very excited to speak with you, actually.
Thank you very much for that. And not many folks, most of the folks tend to stick towards the more humanoid-looking folks here in Treladar. Us Fae folk tend to get a little bit of a bad rap.
Goodness gracious, I can't imagine why. Well, it's their loss. From what I've told, you are a wealth of information.
Oh, thank you. What check would you like to make for this conversation?
Oh, I think diplomacy.
Alright, you can make me that diplomacy check.
Ooh.
Would you like to use a hero point on that? It is a success.
I'll take a success.
Okay. Yeah, your conversation continues. Yeah, anything, I know you're new to the city, anything you're happy to tell you. I'm a little bit of a arcane researcher of sorts. I'm I'm not part of any specific team, but I do my own research. We're attempting sort of a mixture of planar and interplanar teleportation magics and such. It's been very interesting research.
Fascinating.
That's very.
I'm familiar with, the old tuning fork style. But is there anything more precise than that?
Oh, yes, we've been working on essentially targeted planar teleportation that could effectively revolutionize trade and travel. It would allow people to use basically planar jaunts to get from place to place. I'm very much looking forward to the cultural benefits of this.
Yes, imagine all of the sharing back and forth, everything we could learn from one another.
Oh, exactly. And on top of that, imagine how amazing would it be if one day you wanted to go from Treladar and to perhaps to one of like the new colonies that they've set up, maybe somewhere in Magdia, and just jump on through a plane, say hi to the first world for a moment, and then find yourself immediately in the heart of one of the new living building command structures in Magdia. That could be absolutely fabulous.
Yes, I have found myself wishing I could do the same thing, but every time I go to maybe, learn more about plane shift, it's like, oh, well, you might drop yourself within a 50-mile radius of where you're trying to go if you have done it very perfectly. Which, quite frankly, is just not convenient.
There was a time when I would go home and there was an honest risk of me just appearing inside the mouth of a giant creature, and I am very happy.
Oh.
Where I am from, there are these terrible giant frogs that just eat us.
That sounds incredibly dangerous.
Oh, it is. But
hopefully you go with an entourage.
No, I usually have to go myself. I'm going back home to visit family. If I teleport into that frog swamp area, I'm just chomped up. Terrible things.
Oh, well, that's
Yes.
unspeakably awful. If you ever need someone to go with you for safety reasons, by all means, call me, because the first world, I've always wanted to go, but...
Ah, yes. I mean, unfortunately, giant frogs are a bit of a first world problem, but what can you do?
Nim politely giggles.
Yes, no, I'd be happy. I'd be happy with the company. The first world is a truly beautiful place if you have a proper guide to show you the way. We will avoid the theater, of course, but, if you're in the first world, you never go to the theater. It's a terrible spot.
The theater?
Yes.
Certainly you don't mean, well, like a performing arts theater.
Oh, a massive performing arts theater run by the Fae. However, you're very likely to lose things while you're there. It's why we don't take...
Oh.
Yes. I had a friend who once went there against my wishes, and they lost their name.
Oh, goodness gracious. I have been hearing more and more about that. This name magic. That's
Yes.
in a time magic? Chronomancy, if I'm not
Chronomancy. Well,
mistaken?
chronomancy is not very new these days. It's not my personal field of research, but a number of people have been saying. They say it's the most powerful magic in all of existence. Now, personally, I disagree with that, but that's just my opinion. I've always believed in the magic of friendship, but that's just me.
I love that. I actually agree. I think the magic of friendship is the most powerful magic out there. I think chronomancy could be very powerful, but with so many variables, you don't always know what you're changing.
Exactly. And
It sounds more dangerous than it is powerful.
Oh, exactly. And if you did something like call your past self to come help you with a project, if your past self is the type of person to stab your future self in the back for power, yes, that would shift so many things. It's very dangerous. Anyway, I apologize. I've eaten up so much of your time.
Oh, don't apologize at all. It's been lovely talking to you.
All right. I'm just going to make a quick note of your influence gang. And yeah, as the conversation continues, Abby, who would you like to go chat with?
I'm gonna try and chat up Amelia with some library lore.
All right. As you approach Amelia, she just kind of sighs a little bit as someone talks to her, and she just closes her book, puts it back.
It's like, I hate to interrupt, but I have to ask, what are you reading?
Oh, it's just a story, a small book, a bit of fiction to ease the mind at night.
Oh, what's the title?
It is called Visions of Another Place. It's a lovely little story about a girl who is one day walking to magic school when she falls through a portal of sorts and finds herself in a very interesting futuristic world. She finds her way there. She realizes that this futuristic world doesn't have any magic. She's the only one with magic, so she immediately has this like very much power up on the rest of the world, and she begins basically making her way through there. She falls in love. A number of men fall at her heels. It's quite wonderful.
So she's a weeaboo.
It is.
Have I read the specific book before?
If you want to make a library lore, you can. You haven't read this specific book, but you have read enough of a similar genre that is a critical success.
Yes.
And
Nice.
using your library lore, go ahead.
Yeah, I just like, oh, well, I'd very much like to read it someday, but if that's a genre you're particularly interested in, I do have a list that I would highly recommend that sound slightly similar.
Oh, what's your list? I'm very curious. I've read most of I've read most of this genre. I kind of have a bad habit. I'm a little bit obsessed with it. Some people say it's trash, but I love it.
Guilty pleasures,
Right.
whatever you'd like to call them, fully support. But here's my list, and she pulls out a scroll.
As she's reading the scroll,
Like, a lot of them have check marks next to them.
as she's reading the scroll, she's like, I haven't heard of so many of these. Oh my goodness! I thought that I was up and up on the genre, but these look amazing. I will have to find these. Do you mind if I, and she like hands you back the scroll, do you mind, and she takes out another scroll, do you mind if I take a copy of the scroll with my scroll?
Oh, absolutely.
She just puts the scroll on it, the scroll copies it. Thank you.
Of course.
What?
Anything for another bibliophile?
Oh, it's so nice. Listen, everyone here likes to read, but nobody likes to read. You know what I mean?
Oh, I completely understand.
Like, it's all textbooks and instructional things. It's nothing like, people don't love fiction anymore the way they used to, but I do. She just kind of continues talking. Eventually, she'll bring up the point that, if you ever do need anything, like, a little bit more esoteric, and she kind of, like, points to herself, my family owns a talisman and charm shop. I'm more than happy to offer you services there.
Well, absolutely, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to visit the second I have any free time.
Yes, it is called Natural Desires, and it is
Ooh.
a few blocks off the main road. It's a decently large shop. Can't miss it. The very large crystal sign is a giveaway.
Beautiful.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. You continue speaking with her. Garl.
You mentioned someone might be open to some intimidation.
There was a couple. So Lavanya.
The one who went towards the Magic Knights.
Yes, that was Lavanya. She would be intimidation, athletics, as well as arcana and diplomacy.
Two of those are up my alley, so I'm gonna stride over there with purpose.
Okay.
Head held high. And I'm just going to step up and without even saying any words to start, just gonna try and strike a pose to extrude physical power.
Roll to power pose.
Intimidation. That was a natural 9. I'm going to use a hero point.
That was a success.
Oh, then never mind.
So unless you want to make it a critical success.
No, if it's a success, I'm fine.
There's
Saving her point for when I actually fail.
There's a few moments where she looks, she's like, oh, I love a woman. Oh, now I have to change voice. Oh, I do love a woman in uniform. Quite powerful. I love the pose. Very fitting. Oh, and the facial markings. Oh, very avant-garde. That could very well be the new fashion amongst the Magic Knights. Yuri, and she looks at your uniform. An initiate. Oh, I do hope you'll be participating in the duels. I'd love to see what you can do.
That is my aim.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
I aim to impress.
Oh, good. That's a very good thing. You know, the Magic Knights, they stopped impressing long ago. The only one that's really impressive is Sir Malachor, and he is something special from what I hear.
He is something, all right.
Yes, I heard a rumor that they might be attending this evening. It'd be very interesting if they did. But
Hypothetically,
if they haven't
if
shown
you
up
know
by
much,
now- Oh, go ahead.
just hypothetically, if you know somewhat of them, just hypothetically, how much force do you think would be required to render them unconscious so they could be maybe dragged somewhere? Just hypothetically.
I don't think anyone could. They're probably one of the strongest fighters in all of Trollodar right now.
Girl just says to herself, challenge accepted.
Does Garl think that?
Yes.
What challenge?
How many of these tiny things I could eat?
Oh, well, don't make yourself sick.
I will not do that.
Did someone say tiny things to eat?
I mean, yeah. Ooh, Cassandra's in my head.
Isn't she always?
Lynx
Oh,
just says,
that-
"Egg me with a
that-
spoon."
I didn't include him in this.
Garl also quickly, like very conspicuously turns around so her back's to all the Magic Knights. Quickly kind of like rubs her finger through the war paint so she's got some like pigment on her finger, and then uses it to trace a little line around one of her fingers. Because she heard the comment like she likes the lady in uniform, but Garl's like, gotta send a message.
Aww.
Adorable.
Hour 2. Nimbus, who would you like to talk to? Do you want to continue talking to Zeboot?
Love to talk to Zeboot, but I actually, he's
What a name.
wonderful and lovely, and
I love Zeboot.
I apologize profusely for having to disengage myself from the conversation and make sure he knows what a wonderful time I've had speaking with him.
One of my backup characters for Strength of Thousands. He was at one point. Yeah.
Can I ask though, has anyone had a reaction to the fact that Nim? Initially, I was thinking, oh well, I'm not going to wear my holy symbol, but then I remembered I have shining, shimmering, gleaming wings on my back that, according to like the information in the Desna's Moon, it doesn't say that you can or can't get rid of them. I'm assuming they're just there.
Literally every single person thinks it's like a magical glamour accessory.
Gotcha. Okay.
They all think it's
I kind of assumed maybe someone, especially Zeboot, with his knowledge of religion, may have clocked.
Zeboot mentioned it, but he didn't like do it in a way it's like, oh, I want to discuss religion with you. It was like, hey, oh, I recognize that symbolism. That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But Zeboot's not the type of person to be like, oh, you're a Desnan, aren't you? They're just like, oh, it's religion. People have religious values. It's whatever.
Yeah. I was just curious to see if anyone had had a strong reaction one way or the other, because that is one part of my identity that I really can't hide anymore.
Desnans are just kind of okay people in Treladar.
Yeah, they're not extremists.
They're not.
So that's fine. I just wanted to get a
Although
get a
Zeboot does
angle on
warn
that.
you that to avoid, Lord of Light folks, they've been getting a little bit uppity about their religious lately.
Lord of Light. I've
Yes.
heard his name.
A small
couple of
cult
times.
that's convinced that their lord is going to be returning to the earth soon. Well, to the plane soon enough. Poppycock, in my
Do you know
opinion.
anything about their principles?
Yes, they believe in the cleansing of all corruption. That the world shall be
What on earth
bathed in
does
the
that
light.
entail?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I've seen a lot of them killing a variety of undead sometimes, so perhaps just the eradication of that. But between me and you, I've kind of seen them take after folks that have maybe been Fey touched or Tefling touched, and
Oh,
scooted them
dear.
off. So
Well, thank you for the warning. I do appreciate it.
of course,
You stay safe.
yes, I shall. And they kind of flutter away. So Nim, where would you like to go for hour 2?
I wanted to go and speak with Miss Rosamine Harpsilver.
Yes. As you see Rosamine, she is like currently sat at a table with a number of men, and she is just gambling. Like they're straight up just gambling right there. She's like, all right, let's see. Now I just need to make sure. She takes the deck. All right, so here's what we're going to play. We are going to play a game called 10 Wishes. Now, the goal of the game is this. The face cards are seen as the highest value. Then from there, you have the 10... The face cards are seen as like the mid value. I apologize. I'm reading my rules wrong. The highest value are the aces and the joker. Now, this is a number of decks shuffled together. However, there's only about a 5% chance that you get a ace card or one of the jokers. Then below that, usually every 10 cards or so, there'll be a face card. And then the vast majority of them will be the numbers, which are worth next to nothing. They're kind of just fodder for the rest of the game. He says, all right, so who would like to pull first? And of course, you know, you have I always give the people who are new to game a free pull or two, but then after that we have to start putting a gold or two on it, right?
I sit and put a gold down.
Oh, very precious. Well, please do your 10 pull. Draw 10 cards, just flip them face up.
Gladly.
So as you flip the first card, there's a little bit of light that basically stops the card from being seen until you put it on the ground, and then the card does like a little like magical light show, and then it is a 3 of diamonds.
Delightful. All
Yes,
right.
I've added a little bit of pizzazz to it.
I love that. All right. Okay. Oh, how exciting. I do my polls.
Yes, you do your pulls. Unfortunately, it's only a face card.
Okay. Which face card?
The Queen of Hearts.
I'll take it.
Then, of course, it's Rosamine's turn. Of course, I'll do this. She puts her gold down onto the table because you've bet she'll bet as well. She does her pull. Her first card is an ace of hearts. Her second card is an ace of diamonds. Her third card is a ace of spades. Her fourth card is an ace of clubs. Her fifth card is a joker. Her sixth card is a joker. And then she gets 2 queens.
I tap the side of my head and use my third eye to do true seeing at 8th level.
There is no trick there. This woman is just that lucky.
God damn. Okay.
Especially when she
with a
spends
quick look
money
around,
on
do
it.
I see anything else with that true sight?
Yes, actually, you see a number of true sight. You see a number of basically like the lesser nobles appear to have glamours on that are kind of like correcting like skin flaws and like acne and stuff. And then in the case of Amelia, you see that she is glamour to hide her very Tefling-esque look.
Oh. Oh. Poor dear. Good to know. Secret tiefling.
But yeah. As you continue to gamble with Rosamine, what check would you like to make?
Can I make a diplomacy check just to be charming and
Go for it.
curry some favor? 47.
Oh, very successful. That is a crit success, in fact.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, as you continue speaking with Rosamine, you know, I really like you. You're fun to play this game with.
So are you. Goodness gracious, you do seem to be blessed by the goddess of luck herself.
I really am. And, like, she's like, as you continue to play, you know, if you ever need a break from high society, I do have a little bit of a spot. And she will essentially give you a map to an underground casino location.
Ooh.
On like a napkin on the back of one of the cards. Like, oh, a joker, you pulled it. There you go.
Excellent, excellent. I think this is my ace.
Then Abby, who would you like to talk to for an hour or two?
Ooh, I think I might want to try a little something on Rosamine.
All
I
right.
want to see if I can use a deception check to make her think maybe we had like the same tutor when we were kids, like really young,
Go for it.
and that I just have a vague memory of her.
Go for it. That's a success, but not a critical success.
Fair.
Yeah. As you talk, you join in the conversation, and yeah, Rosemine is very perceptive of the two of you.
Ooh, wait a second. Wait a second. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I think I have a thing. Oh, come on. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, I don't think it's this one. I'm gonna put it up. Anyway. Da-da-da-da-da. I don't know if either of those will help at all,
With
but
discreet inquiries or any sort of specific information you'd like to try to gather from her.
I want to try and like figure out where she stands on the whole Treladar war thing. By kind of asking like, what have you been up to since youth?
Can I subtly tell Cassandra what I've learned?
Yeah.
A, about from Z-Boot that tieflings are also being targeted, and B, that the person she's speaking to is in fact a tiefling.
No, she's not. She came up to Rosemine. Like Cassandra came up to Rosemine just now.
Oh god, I'm so silly. Never mind.
Yeah.
For some reason I thought she was talking to Amelia.
She will kind of like take a moment, and as you like ask that, like, oh, just running my business and such, she'll subtly like switch the deck over. And then the new deck that you're all playing with, the face cards, are mages that are in like very sort of like unadvantageous looks. Like they're very much like, oh, these are like Treladarian political figures, satire cards. Like very much like.
Hmm.
And then there's just one with like a question mark headed mage with like that's been beheaded. It's like, oh, just running my casino and playing games.
I said, um, well, seeing you here now certainly calms my spirits.
Well, I'm happy to have done so. She just kind of puts her hand on yours. And when she leaves, it's like, oh, what an absolutely, she like picks it up, and you didn't even notice this, but she slipped a ring onto your finger. What an absolutely gorgeous piece of jewelry. My goodness, the inlay on this is absolutely gorgeous. You must cherish this when you take it off every night and take a good look at it. And she just kind of winks and
And I say, oh, thank you so much for noticing. I really do value it.
nice. Garl, what do you do for hour 2?
The duels are not starting yet, are they?
The duels are not starting for another. You still have to do the ballroom dance. Then there's another bit of mingling, and then the duels will happen.
You mentioned that there was one other person who might be receptive to an intimidation check.
Yes. Amelia.
Okay. What's their situation right now? Are they with people? Are they by themselves?
Cassandra just walked off, and now she's just back to reading her book.
Oh. Talk to Cassandra.
About book learning.
I don't know that. Garl is going to walk up and is going to do the classic Garl attempts to be friendly by, like putting a gigantic tree trunk arm quite quickly up against the wall over top and just kind of lean down. Hey.
Make me an intimidation check.
39.
Success, not a crit success.
I'll live with that.
She just closes her book, puts it into the holder, and it's like, I never thought I'd be living a scene from a fantasy novel.
Oh? Tell me about that. I am interested.
Are you really, or are you just kind of parading yourself around?
I mean, it can be both, can't it?
Fair enough. It's just a common trope in a number of romance books. They're not very popular here in Treladar. Folks tend to focus on magical studies and such, but, every now and then a very strong figure will come and take a position of power, sort of first meeting stance. There was this one novel I read where the protagonist of that one, this lovely girl who was having financial issues, found her way into essentially a club of men who basically spent their time hosting young women at different places. And it was a move that was often done in that book.
What you said just a minute ago, though, I do think that's unfortunate that literature is more towards just magic stuff and not romance, because I personally feel, though I am not an expert in any way, that romance is almost at the heart of magic. One must think that when someone first attempted to make lights appear or conjure something, it was an act of love, likely, for someone.
That's a very idealistic way of looking at it.
Thank you.
You seem like good people.
I am actually just one person, I think.
Fair enough. Yeah,
I do not contain multitudes.
The conversation kind of continues for a while, and then eventually the music and the band begin to swell, and the servants rush towards all of you. It's like the group dance will be beginning soon.
Oh boy.
Thank you.
And so you're all brought into your places. And I need each of you to make me a dance lore, acrobatics, reflex, or another skill that you want to use for a group dance section that you can justify.
Reflexes and reflex save?
Yep, reflex save.
Okay.
Go be reflexive.
Certainly try that.
Oh,
I think
no.
that's a success. I will leave that be.
Yes, that's
Reflex,
a
you
success.
say.
Cassandra, that was a failure. Garl, that was a success.
I will use my hero point.
All right.
Ah!
So Cassandra, this dance is a very new dance. You fall behind a little bit during the group section. However, Nim and Garl, you two are able to keep up with it. As the group dance section ends, a large circle forms, and then it starts off the first person to go in, just because they're very energetic and very excited for this part of the party. Zeboot goes in.
Oh.
And they do a air dance. However, as they're dancing through the air, they create small planar portals, and they begin teleporting throughout the room as they're dancing.
Are we allowed to join? Is that...
No, this is a sort of solo introduction dance. This is for only important people are allowed to do this type of thing.
Okay.
Speaking of important people, Nim, it is your turn to dance after Zeboot. For this, you can do whatever you'd like. You can use any sort of skill as long as you justify how you use that in a dance. Go ahead.
I think I will do deception for this because I want people to believe it is an illusion. I think following Zeboot's air dance, I will also take wing, and do a little dance. But the reason I'm saying it's deception is because I don't want people to think that these wings are a thing that I have permanently. I want them to believe that this is just for the dance.
Roll me a deception check.
Again, I will take that 38.
That's a success, yeah. You are able to give out a very good dance, and as you're flying out, Zeboot's applauding you.
Oh. I, at the end of my dance, give a little golf clap directed towards him.
Yes. The next person to go is Lavania. She comes in and she does
Lavanias in this campaign.
Oh yeah, I guess so. It's kind of my go-to It's kind of one of my go-to names, so that might be why. But Lavania comes out, and she does like a very trendy, like a dance that you've seen all over your that people have seen all over their crystals. Like it's a very trendy, very in dance right now. And she effectively just does a TikTok dance.
Mm-hmm.
And then Abby, it's your turn. What does Cassandra do?
Ooh, so we're going to start with pretentious spell.
Okay.
To make me summoning my instrument extra,
Flashy.
fancy dancy.
Fair.
And then I'm going to do some kind of like Celtic woman type thing with ritualistic performer, and I'm gonna like summon a like fiddle and like dance and play it at the same time.
There was once a mage who carried a mighty sword. She will tear your city down. Olay, olay, olay. Olay,
And then my
olay,
actual performance
olay,
check
olay.
is 46.
That is a critical
yeah.
success.
46, hell yeah.
As you begin playing the traditional thing, the orchestra struggles for a second, but they pick up on it, and then it turns into like a you leading the orchestra with your playing while dancing thing, and like people are enraptured by it.
Woo! Stacking.
After that, Rosemind comes in, and she comes and does a dance that basically, as she's like walking, she basically first starts off by doing like a walk around the dance circle, and as she does, the feathers all pop out of her dress and begin spinning in the air. And then as she's like turning about with now like the dress without its train, the other parts of the dress now begin filling up, and it's this like beautiful rainbow dress. And there's a number of like, because normally that's only for people who are like high up mages, right? And then you just see her doing that, and as she does so, on the back of her hand you can see another one of those non-gifted markings. So she's almost, it's like a very like F the society dance that she's doing right now, where like the feathers are all dancing it out. It's a beautiful feather dance. And then the feathers return to her, and Garl, it is your turn to dance.
Quick question about that.
Yes.
Sorry.
No.
Her having the symbol on the back of her hand, is that for show? Because she does know magic.
So as the host, as your host said, as Maverickson said, that even like people that they see as like not good mages are being given that now.
Interesting.
Like it's very much being used as like a scapegoat for the undesirables of Trelladar.
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah. Next up, of course, after a little bit of prodding, Amelia steps out into the center of the circle and just stands there for like half a minute and then walks back into the crowd.
I applaud.
It's like, I'm not about this. And then Lynx does a drunken dance.
Oh.
With crafting by making a whole bunch of alchemical things.
Little fireworks?
Yeah, a little bit of fireworks. Fireworks and pyrotechnics, and Lynx gets a 50, which is a crit success.
Nice.
I might have Cooper re-roll these as Cooper.
Aww.
I'm just kidding. But yes, Lynx is able to do that, and because of your success in the dance, everyone here, and you succeeded, but you didn't quite get enough points for a critical success on this section.
Well, Garl didn't go.
Oh, right, we still have Garl. My brain just missed Garl. I apologize.
I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Garl.
I have been running around in my head trying to figure out how to work athletics into this.
Russian dance.
But is
yeah.
is athletics okay for dancing, or is it
Yes.
acrobatics?
Ah,
Dancing
okay.
is very athletic.
I use
I used a deception check.
Yes, but you justified it very well.
Garl.
I was
Matt,
thinking of trying to pick up the entire band and just walk around with
Matt,
it like a
Matt.
giant boombox of people.
Let me talk to you as Will for a second here. Dancing is really freaking athletic.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
If you
It
want
is.
to dance, you gotta have a certain. If you're dancing, you gotta have a certain level of athletic ability because it is hard work. It is athletic to dance. Dancing is athletic.
You are
Sorry.
overstating your point. I
my-
understand.
That's my soapbox.
I do have a
for the
quick-
night.
Quick question for McKenna. You specifically did the deception to make your wings appear like an illusion, not like actual wings or
Yeah,
something.
or that like the floating was more part of a spell than it was
Okay, so we're not.
innately.
I was worried I'd missed something. We're not avoiding the displays of magic.
No, not at all.
Yeah, okay, good. So Garl takes a stage, and just before she dances, she's gonna quickly just like take a pose and like and cast mirror image. So there's actually gonna be 4 girls doing this dance.
Yes.
Nice.
And Garl is actually going to, just because I think this would be kind of a neat way to show off strength and coordination with the athletics. Garl is almost going to do a sort of breakdancing thing where she'll will spin around on one hand, but then as her legs move around stuff, she switches hands and everything and will like just spin really fast and stuff, like, almost
Garl
like a
death
whirling
box.
dervish kind of thing.
Nice. And
So-
with the mirror image, it is
Quite hard to follow, almost, I imagine.
yes.
47,
Nice.
not
That
bad.
is a crit success.
Mhm.
Yeah, Garl, you create like such a set of movements that like between that and the mirror images, a couple of the people faint from motion sickness because it's like, oh my god,
Oh,
look at how
no.
impressive that was. It's a good thing.
I'm also concerned of how much I'm sweating inside this uniform.
The uniform. As
I feel like
you're
I need to tear off the sleeves
Oh,
at some point.
here's the lovely thing about this. As you've been sweating during this dance, Garl, you've noticed something very particular. One of like the uniform's medals has just been glowing slightly. It's like you've not been sweating.
Oh, it's a cooling system. I wish that existed in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, the single dances come to an end, and now it's time for the final group dance. If everyone wants to make me a athletics, acrobatics, or performance.
Only 44.
You know what? I'm adding my feet to this one too to give me a +2.
I will keep my 39. I don't think that changes whether it is a
We've hit our 2-hour mark. Perfect. Yeah, that is a success. And yeah, all of the people here seem to be really perceptive. You have really shown off what you can do with a dance. As the dance ends, some more mingling looks like it's about to begin. However, there is like a brief like silence about the room. Like one of the person who had called entrances basically like silences the room, and everyone kind of pays attention to the doors. A fashionably late arrival, the Saint Altairs, and opening the door, stepping through the door, is Nimbus's mother, Gunther, and the person you would assume to be, well, the person you recognize now because you saw the picture of, Malicor. And that is where we are going to end tonight's session.
Da, da, da.
Garl does know the sleeper hold.
So thank you all so much for coming to tonight's episode. Don't forget to check out our many other shows here on the channel, like the Calling Chronicle, the Salt and Sorcery, the Strength of Thousands AP, and join us next week as our party will try to get a read on Malicor, who I'm going to tell you now, their DCs for getting a read and their influence DCs are higher than the rest of them.
Wonderful.
Thank you all so much for coming. I'm going to actually remember to do a raid tonight, as I'm pretty
Huzzah.
sure there are some people that we know online for a change. No, they are not online yet. Never mind.
tonight. I'm not sure. They were up a little bit late, and then they were up for a while, and then they were down by 8:30. So I hope everything's going okay with them.
Yeah, it doesn't look like PJ's up, so I will just end it
Mhm.
there. Thank you all so much for coming
Sorry,
tonight.
guys.
Happy birthday again to Leo, and we'll see you all on the next one. Bye-bye!
Have a good night, everyone.
For next week.
Should be interesting.
The show's all done to you right now.